Hey everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do the triple layer technique. So let's get started. We're going to be using a Budding Friendship stamp set, and then we're going to be using the 2 large flowers. This technique is good for a large, not too detailed stamp. And then we're going to be using the July stamp of the month, and this is called For My Beautiful Friend. Okay, so I've got 2 pieces of cardstock. I'm going to be stamping on White Daisy, and let's just cut everything down. So I'm starting out with a White Daisy at 4 at 5 1/4. You're going to be cutting 3 different sizes. The next one is going to be at 3 by 4 1/4. And then the next one is going to be 2 by 3 1/4. So they're all going to stack. Okay, so now we're going to cut some raspberry cardstock to make borders. So this is an A2 standard size card, so I'm cutting it at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'm cutting it at 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And this is so there will be borders around each of those White Daisy pieces. And then the last one is 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. Okay, so let's get set up to start stamping. I'm using Tombow removable tape runner, and I'm going to stack my White Daisy pieces, and I'm just putting the smaller one in the center and having an even border around it, and then the next smaller one in the center. So I'm flipping my Versamat over so that I have a soft surface to stamp on, and I'm going to use Ballerina and Raspberry. So Ballerina is for this solid flower image, and I'm going to random stamp this image on all 3 layers of the card. So I'm putting some scratch paper behind it so that I can stamp off the edge of the card to make it look more random. So I'm putting the solid image down, and I'm stamping over all 3 layers, and you have to press really hard to make sure that you hit all 3 layers, and you will see that small line of separation, and that's okay. So don't worry about that, but do try to get your stamp pressed down as hard as you possibly can. And then the layering stamp for detail over that flower is in Raspberry. So I'm going to repeat this process, and I'm speeding things up now. And I'm just going to random stamp this large flower around my White Daisy cardstock. I'm leaving some room in the center on that smallest piece of White Daisy so that I have room for my sentiment and a little butterfly image. So I'm kind of making a background with these 3 layers of White Daisy. So now I'm bringing in my sentiment and the butterfly just to kind of figure out placement, and then I'll know where to stamp my flower. This technique works best for solid stamps or not very detailed stamped images, and also images that are large enough to cover all 3 layers. So that's why I chose this flower, just something simple. And then you can really, once you get everything layered, you really see how this technique works. So this flower, there's one petal that's kind of pointed and curved, and that kind of helps you in the placement of how to layer these stamps. But it's an artsy image and a really loose drawing, so you don't have to be perfect. Okay, so let's stamp our sentiment, and we're going to put our butterfly down. So I have the sentiment sending my love. I'm going to stamp that in black, and then I'm going to stamp the butterfly also in black, and then I'm going to color it in with the tri-blend markers. Okay, so I'm going to do some very simple coloring with the blue turquoise and hydrangea tri-blend markers on this butterfly, and just kind of color the butterfly in. Very simple and quick. And then at the very end, off camera, I'm going to add some clear shimmer brush to make my butterfly sparkly. But when you're working with it, the shimmer brush is the very last step because sometimes the shimmer can kind of brush off. So wait until the very end to do that. Okay, let's assemble our card. So I've got my card base here, and it's going to be a top fold landscape. And I'm using the Bonding Memories broad tip glue pen. Something to note about that, this product is retiring, so if you're interested in purchasing it, you should probably get on it pretty quick because it's while supplies last. I'm sad, it's my favorite glue for building cards with, so, but who knows, they might come out with something else in the next catalog. Stay tuned. Okay, so I'm just going to glue that directly to the card base, and because that Tombow tape is removable, you can just pull your 3 layers of your white daisy cardstock apart. So I'm going to add that, the largest white daisy, to the raspberry card base, and I'm just going to pull them apart and then layer my next size of white daisy on the corresponding piece of raspberry so that there's a border around it. And I'm just gluing those directly. And then the smallest one. So I'm going to pop the medium and small sizes once I assemble my card using some craft foam and the white Tombow glue. Just for a little added interest. So I'm putting that down with craft foam, and then I'm going to layer this to my card base. So the design, you're kind of putting a puzzle back together, and your eye, even though they're separated, your eye puts the image, it completes it and makes it whole again. So I'm just layering it and putting it back so that the images are the way you stamped them. And then I'm going to layer that next one, smaller piece, also with craft foam. And then you add that. So this card needs a little extra bling, so I've got the bitty sparkles and regular size sparkles, so I'm scattering some of those around. And then the last step will be to add some shimmer to the butterfly. So these supplies are available in my online store. The URL is in the upper right corner, and I'll make a list with links of everything that I used to build this card with. It's a fun technique. I hope you give it a try. I appreciate you watching my video today. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do so. I would really appreciate it. And thanks for watching.